Hello everyone! Welcome back to Fan Mail, where I answer your questions, display submissions, and anything else that we might find. I hope you like the new set. It's a bit cleaner than the last one. Before we begin, a quick update on my current productions. Sets for Brotherhood War are nearly done, so body acting will be starting before too long. I'll be letting everyone know when it starts via Discord and my Xbox group. Remember, you can join my Discord to stay updated on my various productions and get important notes. There's a link in the description if you wish to join. Also, if you're interested in body acting, I advise checking out my earlier video regarding which armors we'll be using in Brotherhood War. I've linked the video in the description. Also, Wasteland 2019 is coming along nicely. We'll definitely see some episodes before the end of the year. I'm really excited about it. One last thing before we start. This episode will contain spoilers for Spartans Omega Halo. Now to get on with the good stuff. You guys voted for this episode's guest star, and here he is. The one that first carried the torch, the first Spartan in the Spartan legacy, it's Saul 4-01. Reporting for duty. Thanks for being here, Saul. I'll help in any way I can. Great, because we have a lot of fan mail to look at today. Let's get started with a question sent by Captain Nick CK.
Hi there, Chronicler. Sorry to bother you about this, but I wanted to know if Odd Men Out Season 3 was still happening. Sincerely, Captain.
Odd Men Out Season 3 is certainly going to happen. It's just a while away because I want to work on other things right now. We might not see it for a few years, but we'll get there, and trust me, it's gonna be a whopper. What's Odd Men Out? Oh, it's my other show that people like more than yours. What? Our next question comes from Sonic the Freedom Fighter. Good to hear from you again, Sonic.
Hey, Chronicler. My question is, what is your first impression of Red vs. Blue Season 17? If you haven't seen it yet, it's okay, I was just wondering. Anyways, have a great day/evening.
I'm afraid I haven't seen Season 17 yet. I stopped watching Red vs. Blue around the season with all the time travel. The show just doesn't do it for me anymore, I'm afraid. What's Red vs. Blue? It's the show that ripped off Odd Men Out. What are you talking about? Our next few questions come from That Classy Mob Guy.
Hey, Chronicler! I just wanted to say I love your Halo Reach Chronicles. My favorite one of the bunch was Ghost Ship. What inspired you to do those chronicles? What is the one video you've always regretted making? Do you think you'll ever get into the movie industry? What is your favorite type of genre for stories? What is the one thing you would like to add in Forge? Also, thank you so much for Odd Men Out. Peace. P.S. Would you be interested into doing podcast with some people?
Thanks for all the questions, Classy. I'll take them one at a time in sequence. First, regarding Tales of the Reach trilogy...
Stop.
What?
Tell me what the hell is going on.
We're doing fan mail?
What the hell is fan mail? I was summoned here for a reconnaissance op.
Oh, crap. Oh, I forgot to do your orientation, didn't I? Oh, man. I'm sorry, I just been really busy working on sets and making Wasteland and collecting lines from voice actors, and I had an ear infection for like a week, and that sucked.
You're not making any sense. This is another of the Shipmaster's traps, isn't it? You won't get me this time.
Oh man, I feel bad. This is all my fault. Hey Guardian, could you handle this?
I got it. Saul, why don't you just step back inside, big guy?
Monitor?
Yeah, it's me. Look, just go back in, okay?
I don't want to do that.
Catherine's back there.
Catherine!
Keep doing your thing. I'll fill him in.
Thanks, G. You're the best.
My pleasure.
Okay, where was I? Yes. First, regarding the Tales of the Reach trilogy, they were created to expand upon the Reach trilogy, flesh it out, and enhance its feeling of a real conflict where every single person from both sides, whether military or civilian, is affected by the consequences of war. Halo Legends, as well as the general expanded universe, were what gave me the idea to do that sort of project. Most of them gave me the chance to extrapolate upon characters whose stories weren't finished or didn't get a lot of screen time, like Bryce, Sergeant Haverson, and Terrence. Brothers in Arms, Domino Effect, and Shattered Honor also allowed me to fill in the cracks between Border War, Revolution, and the Last War, showing what went on in between the events of the primary trilogy installments, and further link them together. In addition, Brothers in Arms and Domino Effect really let me experiment with different types of characters that deviated from the norm that the primary trilogy set up, such as the elite brothers Kos and Nor Uhar, who found themselves torn apart by the burgeoning ideology split in the Fleet Master's ranks. Ghost Ship, however, is totally different than the rest. It is distant from the rest of the events of the Third War and does not affect them in any way. The characters it displays are isolated to that one installment, but it's really fucking cool. It's the first time I got to play with Halo's storytelling in a different light. Claustrophobic, paranoid, eerily tense. And it's got my favorite twist where, spoiler alert if you haven't seen this nearly 7-year-old video, my soft-spoken, level-headed soldier turns out to be the bad guy. It's obviously inspired by Alien and Halo's own Mona Lisa, and it's creepy and dark, and I love it. I think it might be my favorite of the tales just because it stands out so much. Next up, a video I regretted making? I don't know. Reflection, maybe. That was a Halo 3 Machinima short that expressed how I was feeling at the time, but is pretty cringe now. Biker on Second Squad isn't that great either. I don't think most people know it exists. To be fair, I usually forget about it too. Do I think I'll ever get into the movie industry? Nah, I don't want to. Hollywood is corrupt to the core. No thank you very much. After my machinimas are done, I'll be content to sit back and watch the sun rise on a grateful YouTube channel. Favorite type of genres, definitely sci-fi, with fantasy close behind. They overlap sometimes. And if I could add something in Forge, just one thing, I want the Grizzly from Halo Wars 2, and I want to drive it. As for a podcast, it would kind of depend on what it was about. Did I get them all? I think I did. Hey, thanks again, Classy. We good? So, I'm a... Yep. And you... Uh-huh. And this is... Indeed it is. This is a lot to take in. I know. But the people out there really like you, Saul. Some of them even have questions for you. Okay, I'll try my best. But this isn't really my sort of thing, you know. I know. I made you, remember? Anyway, next question. It's from War Paladin Bloodlust. Alright, first question is for Saul. Did you and your team ever meet any prominent figures from the time of the Master Chief, such as the scientist Halsey or the ODST Buck? This question can be answered by either of the two. Since I can't remember what exactly happened with the Arbiter, did he just go back to his people and let them continue on with the anti-human, mass suicide/genocide zealotry of the Covenant? I will check in again to see what was mentioned, but I would like to know if doubt was being spread or at least if there were factions forming before the Reach trilogy. Now finally for Chronicler. I know I tend to ask questions pertaining to this just about every other time, if not every, but how would I get my name to content creators so I can start playing bigger roles? While I don't have that huge of a setup currently, I would like to continue voice acting for different things, and even possibly help out with other things. Will we be seeing any clues to your final big project you have mentioned in the past? Like, are we going to get Marvel-style Easter eggs leading to a big event? Only using it as an example. I might be remembering this differently, but I think I remember you mentioned some big event will occur eventually when you were still working on a Mega Halo. Wow, this was a long fan letter. Can't wait to see your next video. Want to start this one? I wasn't fortunate enough to serve alongside the Master Chief during the war, and Dr. Halsey was surrounded by enough red tape that I only know who she is because Harper told me. I don't know who Buck is, but if he was an ODST, I'm sure he was a good man. Jake, my teammate, however, told me once an interesting story. Before being a Spartan, Jake was Army Special Forces. He was on Fumarole when the Covenant invaded and posted a battleship above the colony's capital city. Jake said that his unit was ordered to escort a Spartan in blue armor carrying a nuke towards the ship. He saw a Banshee shoot the Spartan down during the charge, but another Spartan arrived and carried the nuke up to the battleship via jetpack. The charge must have been successful because the ship went down in flames, but he never learned who the Spartans were. Nobody would tell him. Maybe you know more about this. As for the Arbiter, he did go back to Sanghelios. He was one of the key figures in ensuring the human-Sangheli peace treaty that was, for the most part, very effective. You must remember that individuals like the Shipmaster were acting on their own, not on behalf of the Sangheli government, and their forces made up a very, very small fraction of the Sangheli population. For the Arbiter and the Council of Sanghelios to intervene in human matters would strain the peace, if any further Sangheli factions thought that their government was favoring humanity too much, instead of focusing on rebuilding Sangheli society and re-establishing their civilization after the separation from the Covenant left them in tatters. The fact that there were not more rogue elites trying to attack Earth and kill humans is a testament to how much the Arbiter fought for peace behind the scenes. Thanks a bunch, Saul. Now for my questions. As for getting your name out there, I have a little bit of advice. Assert yourself. Don't wait for someone to find you. Go talk to them if you want to try to work for them. Sorry if this isn't that helpful, but that's really all I know. And of course there's clues. I've been showing you them, haven't you seen them? Next question, it's from Z-Swell.
So with the coming of Reach to MCC, will we expect to see a new Reach Chronicles?
If you mean a remake, no. Not only do I not have the time to remake all of the Reach trilogy, but I also don't have access to a lot of the old voice actors anymore, and that'd be a lot of recasts, more than I'd like to do. The ones in Spartans Omega Halo were hard enough, but half the cast? No. Besides, I do consider the Reach trilogy and the Tales to be watchable at least, and pretty good at best, and they've left a hell of a legacy, so I'm good with them as they are. Next question is from Cool Gamer Chris.
Chronicler, how is it like being in Halo Butt Buddies?
Butt Buddies is always a blast to work on. The scripts are always funny, and they make me lol. That means laugh out loud, Saul.
I know.
And I genuinely love being Harold. He's so naive, but he's a really good guy at heart, and I like that. Now we have 2 questions from Sloppy or Manx.
Chronicler, this question could decide the fate of the universe. Does pineapple belong on pizza? And if green is the color, then is a color green?
What? Just go with it. Manx, I wouldn't say pineapple belongs on pizza, but I'm not about to stop anyone from enjoying it. Ah, I see. The question could decide the fate of the universe because you're saying everyone should take a more tolerant approach to things, and perhaps cooperate more and therefore get along better. Sure, that sounds nice. You want to take the other question? What was it? If green is the color, then is a color green? Yes. Well done. Now a bit of fan art from Cease. Hey, that's me with Catherine and Scott on Omega Halo. I died. That you did. Okay, well, anyway, thank you very much, Cease. This is really cool art, and it looks great in my fan art gallery. Now, Logan Blue 44 has some more questions he needs answered.
Hey, Chronicler 177. I wanted to thank you for the years of entertainment. I'm currently writing my own machinima due to being inspired by you, but I have a question. Out of all the machinima you've made, which one is your favorite? Mine is personally Bikeron 2. So I'm graduating in a couple of months. I'm kind of nervous. How did you feel when you were graduating? How do you get good camera angles, especially with theater mode being somewhat hard to handle?
My favorite currently is probably Spartans Omega Halo, simply because it's my highest quality work so far. The visuals, filming, acting, and writing are the best I've done yet, and I'm very proud of it. As for graduating, I assume you've probably graduated by the time I'm actually answering this question, so congratulations! The only thing I remember about my graduation is that I was so ready to be out of high school. Oh, and that when I got on stage, I entered a battle stance and yelled my name across the hall. That has to be a breach of protocol. It was. I had to write an apology letter to the bishop, but the ovation from my classmates was worth it, and besides, I'd rather have the memory than a clean slate. Regarding theater, I don't think it's that hard to handle, but that may be a decade of experience talking. It's really just kind of like handling the Forge monitor. All my camera work is self-taught, so the best advice I can give you for camera angles is just to keep using it and try to come up with new, interesting ways to shoot scenes. Try not to let your shots get stale and dull. Experiment a little bit. Here's 2 questions from Lawman Studios.
Hey, Chronicler, if you were to rewrite Halo 5's story, what would be different from the original? What keeps you motivated to create machinimas? I myself haven't created a video in a while. What keeps you going?
Lawman, I got a question similar to your first one in episode 4 of Fan Mail, so instead of giving you a similar answer to the one I gave last time, I'll just roll the clip from episode 4. That seems lazy. Laziness and efficiency are very, very close to being the same thing sometimes. I have an answer for you, but it would take a whole video to detail it, given that I'm very passionate about how good Halo 4's story was and how hard Halo 5's let it down. I may actually make that video, depending on the quality of Halo Infinite's story, but for now let's just say this. They should have let me write Halo 5's story because I would have done it right. Regarding your other question, what keeps me motivated to make machinimas is very simple. It's you. All of you. You guys clearly think what I make is worth the while, and you seem to enjoy it very much, and that makes me want to deliver more. Plus, it's a lot of fun as a community project, from set building to body acting to voice acting. I get to work with so many awesome people. And then we all get to sit back and enjoy what we made when it premieres, and you can be proud of it alongside me. Without you guys, I wouldn't feel like all this work is really worth it, and I would have stopped long ago. It's part of the chronicler's vow, to tell stories until I have none left, or until no one is listening. Here's some questions from Darkfeather.
Why is it that whenever I hear a character say Shipmaster in Spartans Omega Halo, I always just hear Shitmaster? Is it just me, or am I crazy? Meta question. How does it feel like talking to yourself throughout this whole fan mail?
Oh, Darkfeather, you are crazy. But you're not alone. I hear Shitmasters sometimes too. What does she mean about talking to yourself? You're not. I'm right here. Yes, but you have my voice. A variant of it, but it's still mine. Why you? Because when I made you, I poured into you my strength, courage, and will to fight for what's right. You are an extension of me. Plus, when Guardian joins in, it sounds like a reverb. Oh god, what is happening? Let's see. Here's a couple questions from Epsilon.
Hey, Chronicler. Got a good 2 questions centered on your machinima. Which main character is, in your view, your best and most personal favorite? What is your favorite forge set in all your machinimas so far?
Favorite character? Ooh, that's a hard one. I'd have to say Connor from Bikeron. His journey is very personal to me, and his arc across the trilogy I think still holds up well to this day. And my favorite set has to be the Bowl Valley in the wilderness outside Cairo that we see in Spartans Generation Episode 3. Getting to finally work with terrain and foliage was fantastic, and I was able to craft a slice of nature that I think ended up being really nice. However, there's quite a few sets from the upcoming Brotherhood War that are easily going to take my favorite spot. You'll see. Here we have a bit of fan art from the Man of Gaming. It's a tweaked version of my YouTube channel pic. Awesome, I like the lighting change. Very moody. Thank you, Man of Gaming. Now we have 2 questions from major winners. I got 2 questions, one for each of you. Saul, do you know any of the original Spartan 2's Chronicler? What are your top 3 favorite movie soundtracks? Have a wonderful day! No, I never met any of the Spartan 2's, though I know of their deeds. My team and I also trained extensively with our armor and augmentations, using methods based off what they were trained with before the Human Covenant War. The Spartans themselves, though, are heavily classified and usually restricted to Spec Ops missions, so it's very rare for someone to actually meet them and survive to tell the tale. My 3 favorite movie soundtracks, eh? I'm gonna make this a bit more interesting and throw out all the obvious ones like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. Of course I love them. But what can I say that hasn't already been said? I'd rather talk about some less-known soundtracks that I feel need some more attention. First, the Moon soundtrack by Clint Mansell. Moon is an incredibly atmospheric film centered around the feeling of isolation, and Mansell's score serves to drive that home marvelously effectively. The lonely piano notes that permeate the score put you in the boots of Sam Bell, all alone and 1,000,000 miles away from every single other human being. I was going to use this soundtrack for Left 4 Dead 2 before I canned the project, as it would have reflected the loneliness of the end of the world very well in my opinion. Regardless, an extremely well-made score, and one of my favorites. The next score is probably more well-known, but still underappreciated. Patrick Doyle's score for the first Thor movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What makes this score special is Doyle's recurring motifs. Most notably the primary motif that you can make out clearly in the prologue sequence, the science and magic scene, and the end credits. The motif can be powerful, filling your mind with the sights of golden kingdoms, wondrous landscapes, and cosmic wonders. Or quiet and personal, making you realize that whether you come from Earth or from Asgard, we're all really not that different.
Thank you, Jane.
But my all-time favorite underappreciated score could be controversial. It's Bruce Broughton's score for one of my favorite childhood movies, 1998's Lost in Space. This wrongly maligned movie definitely has some glaring flaws, I admit, but I feel there's a lot to make up for it, most notably Broughton's music. Broughton is responsible for a lot of scores, probably from your childhood too. Rescuers Down Under, anyone? He's exceptionally talented. Until Michael Giacchino came along, I didn't think there was anyone else as close to John Williams as Broughton, and Bruce channels his inner Williams for Lost in Space's score, which fits as Williams made the score for the original 60s show long before he was known for Star Wars. The music is fast-paced and electric for the action scenes. Bold and heroic for the badass scenes. And heartwarming for the personal, family-oriented scenes.
I just want you to know I love you, son. I love you very much.
The planet is breaking up around us.
Sure, maybe there's things like the horrible CGI Spider-Smith and some time travel fuckery in this movie, but I'm telling you, there is nothing that gives me the same awesome feeling that seeing the Jupiter 2 burst forth triumphantly from its booster set to the movie's main motif does.
Jupiter 1 boosters disengaged. This is Jupiter 2, diverting all spacecraft control to the main computer.
Seems we have a question from Balecore.
What inspired you to start at Machinima, and specifically Halo ones?
Well, a long time ago, back in 2006 or so, my cousin introduced me to both Halo and Red vs. Blue at the same time. After seeing Red vs. Blue, I was hooked, and ever since then, all I can remember is the desire to tell my own stories in the same medium. Things like Arby and the Chief and Pre-Game Lobby only help to fuel the fire. Now, the funny thing is that the cousin who introduced me to Red vs. Blue is also the person asking this question, so yeah, meet Kyle, everyone. Our next question is from Justin.
What's the most insignificant fact you can tell us about Saul?
Saul, analysis. The grammatical structure of this sentence indicates that it could possibly be one of two questions. The first asking you what the most insignificant fact about myself is. The other question asks me to relate to the fan the most insignificant fact regarding anything I can think of. And that's why grammar is important, folks. Shall we do both? Both is good. When Saul was 9, he was bitten by a wood tick and contracted Rocky Mountain spotted fever, which was quickly dealt with by modern UEG medicine. While fighting in Tripoli, I spotted a restaurant that was only open till 5 p.m. on Wednesdays and 9 p.m. every other day. Our next two questions come from Odd Night 712.
Chronicler, what is your favorite horror games? Saul, do you had any hobbies before you became a Spartan?
Dead Space, easily my favorite horror game, all three of them. I'm one of those few out there who genuinely loves Dead Space 3 for what it is. When I was young, I enjoyed watching races on TV. There was something intriguing about the thrill. But being a Marine and eventually a Spartan gave me more thrills than I could ever know what to do with. By the time Harper contacted me for the program, I didn't really think about anything other than the fight. I didn't have the time or the desire to. Ebonblade has more questions for us.
What is one thing that you wish you had Halo Infinite to implement that 343 haven't with any of the other Halo games? For Saul, how did you feel that you would be the next in line of the Spartan generation after the Chief? Did you ever think that you were inadequate because of all the achievements Master Chief did? Or did his achievements drive you more to uphold the Spartan name and what it means? Also, have you ever thought what your life would be if you didn't become a Spartan?
I just want everything to be accessible in Forge and Customs. All vehicles, all weapons, everything. The Pelican, the Phantom, dual wielding, so on and so forth. All previous games have omitted stuff from Customs for balance issues, but the entire point of Customs is that they're custom. Balance shouldn't matter unless we want it to, and because the amount of control we have over Forge and Customs now, we can omit any non-balanced things if we so desire, but at least give us the option to have them for the sake of fun. Knowing that my team and I would be carrying the mantle of Spartan after the previous generations was daunting, to say the least. We all heard their legends, and then we were being asked to make legends of our own. I wanted to be like them, I really did, but I felt a lot of pressure to live up to the Spartan name. I knew everyone was counting on us to save them. There were times where I doubted myself, times where I thought maybe Harper had chosen the wrong person to lead the new Spartans. But then I reminded myself, regardless of whether or not we were as good as the ones who came before us, people still needed our help. And I had to do everything in my power to make sure my team stood between them and those who threatened their safety. It's possible that if I'd never been a Spartan, I might still be alive. But then again, it's also possible that the shipmaster would have fired Halo without me there to stop him, and then no one would be alive. I'm at peace with the way things went, and I think I did all right in the end. Well said, Spartan. Now we have some fan art and a few questions from that clumsy guy. Hey, that's me! Twice! I've come a long way since being a monitor. Yes, you certainly have. Now let's see those questions. Who'd win in a fight, Saul or Zack? Did Saul become Flood Boy after dying? For Chronicler, what did you think of the Transformers Bumblebee movie? Zack is the Spartan 3 that worked with Catherine, right? That's the guy. Well, I'm sure I'd put up a good fight, but Zack has the benefit of better augmentations and lifelong training as a Spartan. I'm sure he'd win in the end. Now, if I had my team to back me up against him, that could be another story. I still calculate heavy losses before the Spartan 4s could take Zack down. He is a bit of a badass. And no, I wasn't turned into a flood after my death. The Mjolnir Mark 7 armor has a built-in self-destruct that activates upon the user's death to prevent the armor from falling into enemy hands. After dying, my body was incinerated, leaving nothing behind to infect. Plus, the Halo blew up, and that definitely finished the job. I haven't seen Bumblebee yet. I know the reviews are better, but Age of Extinction convinced me to never, ever see another live-action Transformers movie, at least in theaters. Maybe I'll rent it someday. For now, I'll stick to rerunning Transformers Prime. Ren Vow has sent us a question.
First off, when did you and Harper first meet? Did you know him before you were a Spartan?
I first met Harper, as well as the members of my future team, when he called us to meet to discuss the Spartan 4 project. Before then, I'd never met any of them except Cameron, who I fought with on Madrigal. Harper was usually involved with Black Ops stuff like the Spartan programs, so his existence was usually kept in the dark from standard UNSC forces. Looks like we have a question from Ripsta.
What inspired you to become what you are today and continue what you're doing, even if times get tough, and make you want to wake up and do it all over again, even when people may hate and despise you?
I don't think I've ever been hated or despised. But like I said earlier, what keeps me going when times are hard is my fans, like you. I really wouldn't be anywhere without you guys. Next questions are from Megalodon302. For Chronicler, among the many villains to have appeared in the Spartan Legacy, who is your favorite? And if you can't name one, name your top 3. For Saul, what exactly happened in Madrigal, Oh, Mega, I know you're wanting me to talk about the Shipmaster, and he's definitely a close second. But my favorite is actually the Fleetmaster from the Reach trilogy. He doesn't suffer from the religious blindness that affects the Shipmaster, and he's more manipulative and diabolical, where the Shipmaster was much more straightforward. He may not have accomplished as much as the Shipmaster, granted, but I personally enjoy his characterization just a little bit more. Now again, this opinion is what I hold at this very moment. There's a lot of things coming up in Brotherhood War that may cause me to change my favorite villain as well. So, Saul, tell us about Madrigal. The planet of Madrigal was the second colony to be glassed by the Covenant, which happened in 2528. However, in 2549, the UNSC attempted to establish a small outpost there, in order to have a foothold in the ruined outer colonies, from which they would send Black Ops teams to sabotage the Covenant's supply lines. Cameron and I were part of the Marine Battalion stationed there as security. Before operations could begin, the Covenant discovered the outpost and besieged it. There were too many for us to counter. Evacuation was the only option. After ensuring that all critical personnel had left, Marine personnel were ordered to pull out. My sergeant was KIA on the way to the evac birds, and as a corporal, it fell to me to make sure the unit got out intact. With Cameron backing me up, we fought off the Covenant long enough for the Pelicans to extract the unit with minimal casualties. It was a miracle any of us made it out at all, much less so many. Harper told me that it was this event that caused him to consider Cameron and I for the Spartan 4 program, and eventually to make me team leader. Our next question is from Mr. RE117.
Favorite Transformer?
Optimus Prime. No challenge. He's big, he's brave, he's got an awesome paint job, the coolest voice ever. Peter Cullen could make reading a meatloaf recipe sound epic. Plus he turns into a truck, And the guy's name is Optimus Prime. So fucking cool. Have I said enough? Now our next question is from Hero Gameplays.
What do you believe Halo Infinite will have in store, and do you think it'll be enough to revive the community?
I don't really know what Infinite will bring. Right now it could be anything. The state of Halo is so in flux right now and shrouded in murk that I can't tell which way 343i's development is going to go. Hopefully it'll be received better than 5. If it is, I'm sure it'll breathe some life back into the Halo community. But let's not kid ourselves, guys. No matter how good Infinite is, the days of Halo 3 are never going to come back, not all the way. Times have changed. People have changed. Halo had its golden years, and now they're gone. A king has his reign, and then he dies. It's inevitable. Our last question today is from Simon7055. Hey, Chronicler, I hope you don't mind me asking, but, what does it take to become a voice actor? Being a voice actor requires a lot of work and a lot of practice. On the physical side of things, you need to have a good mic in a studio, which can be a little expensive, but otherwise, you have to learn how to be able to act as a character without anyone seeing you. That means expressions and emotions you'd usually convey with your posture or face, you have to express using only your voice. It's tough, and not everyone can do it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try if you're interested. Practice and research will help you get better, so that's at least where one should start if they wish to go down that path. Whew, we had a lot of awesome questions today. Thanks to everyone who sent in their fan mail. So, what happens now? Oh, I'll put you back in your timeline now. But I know everything now. Don't worry, you'll undergo a memory wipe before you re-enter. It'll be like you never left. Oh. Well, in that case, goodbye everyone. Thank you for voting me onto this episode. It was a bit weird, but I'm happy I got to meet all of you. I'll be announcing the guest for the next episode of Fan Mail soon. Don't forget to email me your fan mail or put it in my Discord. And remember to stay tuned for announcements on Wasteland and Brotherhood War. I'll see you later.